Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 27 of the Frenchy Foxy Poddy. I've called it that before. I don't know what episode it's in. If you can tell me what episode I called it the Frenchy Foxy Poddy, let me know, besides episode 27. Today we have Will.
What's up, guys?
Dylan.
What's up, guys?
Oh, yeah. Dylan, do you want to explain? Give a little disclaimer.
What are you talking about? Explain what?
Your voice.
What are you talking about, my voice? What happened?
And I am Augie. We have a fun one for you guys today. So sit back, relax, strap in, and keep your arms and legs inside the podcast at all times. Woo! Roll the intro.
French fries. French fries.
Yeah.
French fries.
Yeah.
French fries. It's a podcast.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for Since We Last Spoke. So, Will, you've told me that you have a new fan submitted intro?
Yeah, I don't have it on like my phone or computer or anything. They just told it to me. And I just know it.
Okay.
Okay, ready? So
Okay.
Can you introduce Since We Last Spoke one more time?
Okay. Just for context, last week we got awesome fan submitted Since We Last Spoke
super
intro.
awesome.
And so if you have any intros that you make or whatever for any of our segments or segment you want us to do,
I like the Simpsons intro.
besides head to head, then send it to either any of like at French Fox Prod or like FrenchFoxProd at Gmail. Either one of those works.
Or me.
Or Will.
Yeah.
Like this one is. So, Will, now it's time for Since We Last Spoke.
Since We Last Spoke! So last time.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's
Is that
it.
it?
It's short and
okay.
sweet.
Okay, it's nice.
Do you like
All
it?
right. Shout out to the fan who submitted that.
Yep.
Do you have a name or?
God bless you.
you, Augie.
Thank you.
Anonymous.
Do you have, anonymous.
Not any anonymous, the.
Oh my gosh, the
Whoa.
hacker group.
I thought that they were like disbanded or something because
It's
they said we're going to take down Trump when he's elected. And then they just kind of didn't.
It's actually just one person. You'd think it's a group, but
Is it you, Will?
Classic.
Oh, I'm sorry I exposed you on the French Fox on the French Fox pod. So since we last spoke, you all know how it works. We catch up on everything that's happened since we last spoke on the podcast. Who's got one? Who's got it?
I've got one.
Go, Will.
This past Thursday.
Yup.
So what? Okay, so a week before you're listening to this,
Exactly.
I went to a Lakers game.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, and you know who was there?
Who was there?
Augie.
What?
What?
Augie was there.
You
That's
took me?
coincidental.
I took you.
Aw,
And you know the game.
That's so sweet.
The game
Yeah,
itself.
I was there too.
No.
No, Dylan wasn't there.
The game itself was not very exciting. What was very eventful was the drive there.
Oh,
Game starts at
God.
7:30.
What?
Driving downtown
Los
in LA.
Angeles.
Oh, no.
You do us dirty.
It's like we should have had enough time. It said with traffic, it was going to take us like an hour and a half to get there. We're going to park at 7, get in, do everything. Augie is GPSing me. He's directing me. And it seems like we get off the freeway like way too early. And then every single place we go, oh my God, a special guest. Oh no.
Someone didn't close the door correctly because one of the dogs in the house just
pushed it open.
Just pushed it open.
Broke it down.
So I
You
think,
mean office?
yeah. Sorry. Someone didn't lock the office door correctly because a crazy fan
Ran in.
ran in,
So where was I?
barking and licking.
Didn't do any of those things. It's kind of
Just
funny.
trying to give context that it's a dog.
Oh, well, it was a dog.
It was a canine.
So Augie's directing me. We get off the freeway. If you've ever been to Staples Center, it's a mess. We got off the freeway a little early, and he just keeps making me take these unprotected left
Because
turns.
you know, Waze and a lot of like different direction things, but like Waze especially will take you on the worst, most painful route just so
Yep.
you can shave off a half of a minute.
Which got me thinking. I mean, of course, Waze. It was unfortunate. There were a couple accidents, like some serious accidents with road closures. So that's why it took so long. But it made me wonder if Waze like directs half of its drivers one way and half another way to, you know, kind of dilute traffic. Like that'd be smart if
I mean,
it
I
did.
think it naturally does because when it directs everybody uses Waze, so it probably just makes traffic heavier.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like, let's say there's two ways to get there. You can take freeway or surface streets. And they're both the same amount of time. If Waze directs everyone to take the freeway, the freeway is going
you're
to take
wondering if it
longer.
intentionally still puts people on the freeway when it's telling other people it's shorter right now to take the other way.
Right.
He's
I don't
wondering if
think
it like splits up the traffic.
Yeah.
Like let's send 50% this way, 50% this
That'd
way
actually be kinda
to
smart.
eliminate the traffic.
Right. That's what I was wondering.
I have a question. How does traffic like start
Oh.
on the freeway?
Oh yeah. Sometimes I think that like who's not moving at the front?
Like how does it start?
Okay. So there's two ways. One
Okay.
way is the obvious way. There's an accident or
Okay.
a road closure,
someone
a lane.
just gets bored and stops their car.
Yeah, someone gets bored and stops their car. I've done that a couple times.
So those are more of the like the freak things. But
Yes. Okay. So the best way to think about traffic is to picture school just gets out.
Yep.
The bell rings and every kid rushes towards the door. No kid just stops in the doorway, right?
Right.
Right.
But you can't just immediately get out. There's kind of like a line you have to go and
Bottleneck.
exactly.
So it's like when a lot of cars enter the road at the same time.
exactly.
People
so
slow down
so
and then
picture
it just causes.
picture a long stretch of just like a mile long straight road, and
Uh-huh.
at the first like stop, the very beginning, there's an on ramp. Okay.
Yeah.
So cars are getting on the on ramp, and then immediately after there's an off ramp. So you have cars who have just gone on and are trying to move to the left, cars who have been on and are trying to move to the right, and just ahead you have even more cars coming on. So what's happening is all of the cars on the right are trying to get to the left, and all the cars on the left are trying to get to the right. So it literally is like someone is stopping. Augie's giving me like it's
Whoa.
boring.
No, I'm just
I'm
like
actually
I'm
gonna-
trying to take it
picture
in.
it.
It's
because
crazy.
I still feel like they would move at the speed of traffic if everybody's just moving at the
I
speed
guess
of
it's just like
traffic to try
little
and get off.
things
It's-
start off like just one person braking just a little bit to like get behind a car to merge.
Yeah.
Like results in like just a person behind them braking and then two people braking behind those people.
Funny
and
enough,
then-
I heard about this on a podcast.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
Our
And
podcast?
he had his
That's
own.
crazy.
He has his own name for it. It's called like a traffic bubble, which is the idea that if the car in front of you brakes, it sends back this imaginary bubble, and if you get caught in the bubble, you also have to brake.
And it could go forever.
It could. Sometimes it stops right away, like the car in front of you will brake.
That's
and
how rear ending happens on the freeway. It's like the thing where the reaction time is a little bit less for every person that has to brake suddenly.
kind of more of the sense of like if the car in front of you brakes
Mm-hmm.
and suddenly you hit the bubble and you don't brake, that's when you'll rear end them.
Oh yeah. I know
But,
what you're
like,
talking
yeah.
about, yeah.
No kidding.
It's every little amount braking. Or think about when you get over and suddenly the car behind you maybe has to slow down for half a second,
And they
right?
honk at
Yeah.
you because you just cut them off.
No, maybe. Well, sometimes.
Oh,
We
that's just
had a
me.
couple. We had a couple of close
That's
calls
just me.
driving.
Yeah.
I have a
But how can you not?
true.
Fair point. You're not driving if there's not almost an accident.
So true.
I have a I mean, I know that my voice is painful, so I'll make it brief. But I have too relevant of a story to tell. I wonder if I've. Please cut me off if I've told this one before. I don't
will.
think I have.
Don't worry.
Yes, I know you will. But I was at a water park with my family, and my dad was. I was going in his car. My cousins were going in the car with my mom and my sisters. And this was a few years ago, so I didn't even have my permit yet. I think I'd had it, and then it expired. Is what happened to me. So I hadn't driven in a really long time. Was not legally able to, but. My dad had that terrible thing that happens when you get sunscreen in your eyes, except for as he drove, it got worse and worse to the point where like he was losing vision sometimes and then it would come back. So he was like,
Wait. I have never experienced that.
I think he was having like an
Sunscreen?
allergic reaction. Or
Okay.
something. It must have been an extreme.
I've had
thing.
allergic reaction to sunscreen. It sucks.
Yeah. So he was in so much pain, and our options were basically we're 3 hours away from home, and our options were we stay down here or I drive us home. So that, and I hadn't
What
done
water park is
pretty much
3?
any freeway driving. Well, it was with traffic. It's not
Okay.
like literally
Right,
3
okay.
hours. I think it was. I forget which one it was. I'm not even gonna try.
Raging Waters?
Probably
That's
the
what I was
one.
gonna guess.
Probably the one connected to.
Not Hurricane Harbor.
It's not.
Yeah,
no,
Hurricane
it's,
Harbor.
it was a smaller one. It's like
Oh,
separate.
really?
It's its own thing. There's no
Oh,
like,
okay.
theme park. Yeah.
Raging Waters.
I think that might be what it was.
Love
But
Raging
anyway, it was a good park. But then, so we decided I was just gonna drive. I mean, I'd taken the classes. I hadn't done much freeway, but like I know the rules of the road.
That is terrifying.
And it was just really, really scary because all that stuff that like you know in your head, but is not like implemented yet. So you still have to have that practice. Was just all of a sudden flying at me like that traffic bubble you were talking about. That's what reminded me of it. But there's so much stuff like that, or trying to keep pace with people on the freeway, knowing when to merge in blind spots, and I like got such a headache. But I
It
did
is-
make it.
And it's
Wow.
also, there's the extra fear of like, if you get caught, like,
Oh yeah,
you know, like you're
Then it's
literally
like-
driving illegally.
I will never be able to get my license.
Oh,
my
yeah,
dad
yeah,
might
yeah.
go to jail. Yep.
And it's like, it's also scary. Like you feel, it's that kind of thing where when you are expecting something to happen or you're worried about something happen, you're so much more aware of it.
Yes.
Like I'm trying to think of a good example.
Like one time I don't know if this is an example. I might have actually talked about this on the podcast. Stop me if I have. But I found out that my dad had to take my car in the next day because like my airbags were faulty or whatever, and I was I just like vividly remember I was like driving to Panda Express to pick up food for my family, and just every time I had to make like a left turn or something, I was like, be careful, if anything happens,
Exactly.
these airbags are gonna take me out.
Exactly. Like if your dad had never said anything about the airbags, it would have been just a perfectly normal drive. But
Wouldn't have even thought about it.
Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
there's like it kind of ties in somewhat. It's more just like a connected, interesting thing. But it reminds me of that psychology thing that's like, I forget what it is, like phenomenalism or something like that.
Oh yes, phenomenalism.
Where it's, I don't think that's what it's called. Yeah, but it's something like that.
I have a lot of phenomenalism.
Do you know what it is?
'Cause I'm so-
nice.
Ism.
But
Yeah.
Okay,
Whoa.
Dylan. Okay,
Whoa.
I'm turning off Dylan's
no.
mic now.
But basically, it's this theory that I think I don't know if it's proven, but it feels very accurate. Where it's just when it's the thing that people always talk about, where also you see things on Facebook that are advertised based on something that you were recently talking about, and I do believe that they listen to you, but it also ties into a theory that if you are thinking about something or you expect something to happen, then when it does happen, your brain will automatically say, this is a situation that is all tied together. Whereas if you hadn't said anything, it might have still happened the exact same way and it just wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
I think you're talking about confirmation bias.
Yeah, that is.
Which is
yes.
like, have you ever noticed when you learn a new word, suddenly you hear that word a lot more?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like phenomenalism.
That's not a word. Please disregard
Steve
that.
Tim, can you look up phenomenalism?
There was a different term for it that had it had phenomenon in it, but I don't know.
Steve Tim, give me that one more time.
You want me to look up phenomenalism? Are you mocking me?
I was trying to. I couldn't get up there.
Wow, Dylan, that's cold.
That's mean. Oh, Steve Tim just left.
No.
At least we still have Steve Kim. Anyways, wait. I feel like we were talking about something.
Confirmation bias?
Oh yeah.
I've talked about this many a time. I love that people listen to me.
Oh yeah. Like
I
with your
love it.
technology, and then you're like, yeah, you always are like, yeah, I want those golf balls.
How many times? All right. Cut me off if I've said this before.
Guys, there is a national emergency. Does anyone else have since we last spoke?
No.
A national emergency at the border?
No.
Oh.
Worse.
The Canadian
More
border.
pressing issue.
Can we guess?
E-scooters.
Oh, don't get me started on the e-scooter.
E-scooters have sent hundreds of people in Southern California to the emergency room.
Wait, what?
For the
Are those the
context.
birds?
Context, yes. So
No.
this is huge in
rise.
Southern California. I bet it's branching out in other states and stuff too, but it's really big in Southern California. They started out more in Santa Monica and they're branching out from city to city. It's like Uber, but with like an electric scooter. You pay. They're just lying around all over the sidewalks, and you see one. You have the app. There's one called Bird. There's one called Lime. One called like. There's an Uber one that's like Uber Go or something, and you have the app, and you just like I don't know how it works, but you are basically paying like 15 cents a minute on to use the Bird and go around the city. But of course, people are stupid and getting sent to the ER.
They go pretty fast.
Now the machines finally rise up to destroy us. Is that it?
Also, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to only be allowed to drive them in like a bike lane street thing, but
Yeah.
people do them on the sidewalk all the time. And my mom said she was out on like this bike path in like at the beach, and there were a bunch of people riding like those like Birds or whatever, and there was a like cop just waiting, just ticketing so many people.
Well, I was in San Diego
Wow.
on this very famous stretch of beach, and everyone, like it was a thing. Like there were people every like 5 minutes walking distance with different stands, and I think one of the strangest things about them is the kind of new If you're familiar with the gig economy, it's like jobs like Uber, Postmates, which is like new jobs that wouldn't necessarily be a full-time job.
Okay.
And it's creating new jobs in that market because they need to get charged. And
I'm glad you brought this up.
people they will hire you to literally just go grab, like, I don't know if the battery detaches from it or if you can take it like into your house and charging it. But the problem is people are spending more on their electric bill for charging it
Oh,
than
Oh,
they're
that's
being
funny.
paid.
wow.
And I think this was maybe an older problem that they're fixing now. But that was one of the big problems they're having with people to get them to charge them.
Yeah, I know, because I know people. Basically, how it works is like, yeah, you like, depending on how many birds you get and how many you charge and like where you place them after, you get a certain amount of money for doing that. So I know people who would just like go around and just like pick up ones, and there's like standoffs between people as they get to one, and it's like, who's going to take
I
this
also
bird?
feel like it's kind of funny how they spread, because if you think about it, it's not like someone rode from San Diego to Los Angeles or Santa Monica to LA and now suddenly like more and more people are riding. Like the company releases them in certain areas.
Yeah.
But it's funny that like, you know, it's like maybe a month ago my dad took a picture of like outside his window and he could see one from his window on the street. He's like, they're coming.
Bird box.
And he literally, and now like 2 weeks after that, like they're literally everywhere. Like where I work, kids where I work, the Cheesecake Factory, there's a very clear view to the entrance of the mall, and like 8th graders love them. They just
I didn't know
ride
there
them.
were birds in our
Wait.
area.
I thought you had to have
Oh,
a
yeah.
license.
I mean, you probably do, but you can just, you know, it's just an app. How do you prove you have a license? You know, you just put in a
No,
fake.
you don't have to. Oh, yeah, like a license. Yeah,
Driver's
okay. I thought you were
license, yeah.
saying like you have to get bird certified.
No.
Birdified.
You need to be able to drive, which I always thought was a really good rule. But if they don't make that a thing where you have to prove it,
But if they can do it through their parents' account, then there's no enforcement.
Yeah,
that's true.
Or you can literally just lie about your birthday.
so see, now I'm completely anti-bird because now you're giving people vehicles that move really fast and are very dangerous,
Dangerous.
that don't know how to drive.
I like the idea. Kind of like
Great idea.
It kind of like takes out traffic maybe a little bit.
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
maybe you live like too far to walk, but maybe there's not a bus stop close to where
well,
you
and
live.
it's electric, so it's really good for the planet.
Environment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the planet loves that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Planet loves birds. You know,
The pro bird.
these are the birds. The scooters are
Mm-hmm.
one thing, but you know that birds like that fly around are actually like made by the government.
Oh yeah,
No
'cause
kidding.
Since the shutdown, no birds.
I haven't seen it. Well, now the government. I haven't seen.
Now they're
haven't,
back.
I haven't seen
But we're-
a
the-
single bird until the government reopened a couple days
I
ago.
still haven't. I think
never
they're
thought
re-releasing
about
them
it
slowly.
that way, but
You've been
you guys
noticing
are right.
A lack of
Yeah,
birds.
did you see a single bird even on the internet? No one
and
saw
did,
a bird.
did you
Oh.
notice that suddenly the internet stopped listening to you? Because that's how they do it. The birds fly above your head, above your
Little
house.
birds.
Like,
Yeah.
literally.
Did you notice that suddenly Alexa turned off?
Do you know this is a real conspiracy that people believe that birds were created by the government?
I believe that
It
there
is
are
weird
people
that
who
I
believe
don't remember
anything
seeing a bird.
because people believe that the Earth is flat, and that's ridiculous.
How
Can
do
you
you know?
prove that it's not?
Have you ever been?
It's been proven so many times.
It could all be. The thing is, you can never convince someone once they believe in a
That's true.
conspiracy
Yeah.
because literally the reason that you believe it's true is their reason that it's not. Like
Yeah.
we would say, like we have pictures of the Earth and like done by the government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I firmly believe, like, I'm nowhere near believing that the Earth is flat, but in general, with
Hold on,
conspiracies
hold
like
on,
that-
hold on. How do you go from I don't believe the world is flat, but like what are you going to follow up with? Like
Well,
I
wait
think the
and
world
see.
is a cube.
No, I know that I believe firmly in what like NASA says about the world,
Bless you.
Sorry, I'm sneezing all over the place.
in the mainstream idea for what the world is, like a sphere, but
Here we go.
in general, with conspiracies like this, it does always make me think. And it's the same thing with like history. We've talked about this, I don't think on the podcast, but just in conversation, that it's something that's so weird because there's so much that we take as proof because culturally there are things that are accepted as proof, but then it's like the only real proof of something for yourself is seeing it, and even then it's not really proof, and it's just kind of a trippy thing. But I guess you take what you can get.
Kind of like
Which is
Plato's
photos.
allegory of the cave.
What?
Kind of like
I'm not that smart.
purple Play-Doh that I eat for dinner.
Okay.
Play-Doh is really salty tasting.
With a nice glass of glue.
Elmer's glue.
Should I tell Plato's story?
Yum.
Plato's allegory
Yes,
of the
please
cave?
do.
So the Super Bowl is coming up. And you guys have any opinions on the Super Bowl? Any feelings?
The Rams should not be in the Super Bowl, but I'm sure I'm glad they are.
Why
All
are you?
right.
Why not?
There was I don't know if you know this, there was a very controversial play.
Oh, with the Saints.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
and
but
I think I saw today all 4 of the refs were from Southern California.
but the exact same thing happened with the Saints to the Vikings. I'm a Vikings fan, but the exact same thing happened with the Saints to the Vikings a few years ago. The Vikings were going to go to the Super Bowl. This is completely separate, but the same year when they were paying their players to try and take out Brett Favre and like the players on the
So
Vikings.
this wasn't a few years ago. This is a little more.
Yeah,
than, this is a little more than
That is a few years ago.
The only time I've seen Brett Favre on TV is commercials for razors.
Yeah, it's been.
Yeah, so it's like,
he's been out. He's been out for a bit.
It's been a hot second.
He
but
stands up at a press conference. This is a Brett Favre commercial. Stands up at a press conference and goes, "I'm coming out of retirement," and everyone snaps cameras for shaving.
Yes.
Like a big, you know.
Yikes.
But anyway, they basically the exact same situation happened where pass interference call, really controversial. Again, and it made the Vikings lose.
I think maybe the difference is Saints players were literally trying to take out Vikings players. Where I don't think this.
No, but it's unrelated. Vikings still probably would have won, but the pass interference made the difference.
Let's put the foot back in football. Make kicking legal.
Yes.
Yes.
Football.
But, where I was going to end that is not that the situations. I don't think that a sport should be decided by well they did this back then, but that's just. I was leading into saying that it seems to be that as a league, the decision is even if something is discovered after the game, what's called in the game goes.
Yeah, that's
so while
always
it
how
might
it
be
is.
unfair.
Yeah, and also just ref calls. There are always bad ones, and they ebb and flow. However, this one
kind
was
of
a
part of the game.
historically bad one.
And I think something I was thinking about is that throughout a season, you could even say throughout a career for certain teams or certain players, you get enough calls against you and calls in your favor
Right.
to where it evens out.
Yeah.
And, of course, there are some cases where you have players or teams who always get lucky calls, or you have players who always get the bad break. But it's just overall, I think it's pretty even. And I think the reason they just stand by what happens in games and they don't change things is because then that sets a scary precedent.
Oh, yeah.
What can be changed?
Seems corruptible, yeah. And it's I think it's fine because like you said, there are also good calls or it goes well for one team always even when it's a bad call. So it's it's just part of the game, I think, at this point. That's a part of the game of football in the National Football League is that there might be a bad call.
Look at that sports talk. So let's go non-sports. Do you guys have a favorite Super Bowl ad? Because the ads are just as big as the game for a lot of people.
Most disappointing ad last year
Was.
and then I'll go to my favorite ad of all time.
Go.
Most disappointing ad last year was Dilly Dilly. They had this whole big build up for we have this great ad coming for
Wasn't that
Bud
funny?
Light, and it
I thought it was fine.
yeah,
but what do you expect? It's not actually Game of Thrones.
it was
They're not
overhyped. I think, for example, a really funny ad.
It
I
was
think
minorly amusing.
any commercial is gonna be overhyped.
No, but it
there's
could've
no
been more
commercial that
funny.
will live up
It
to
could
a
have been
hype.
No, there have been some
So I
really
think-
funny commercials.
I think an example of a really good. I don't even know if this was Bud Light, but it had to have been a super long time ago. Maybe one of their first ads that I remember at least seeing. There was a sword fight going on between two knights, and one of them hits his sword on the table, and the camera pans, and there's a Bud Light, and the director yells cut, and he's like, "What is this Bud Light doing?" And he's like, "Well, it's product placement, The more Bud Light we throw, the more Bud Light pays us. And as the scene progresses, there's more and more Bud Light until all the knights' armor is made of Bud Light, and they're fighting with Bud Light canned swords. And
That's funny.
It's
Oh,
a really
that
funny
is
one.
really funny.
That's not my favorite of all time, but I'm just
Whoa!
saying.
What's your favorite? Give it.
It's a series of commercials that started in the Super Bowl maybe 2 years ago when the new Prius was coming out.
Oh.
About the cops and robber chase
I really like that one, yeah.
the new Prius. And the idea is the getaway driver brought the wrong car. He brought a Prius. He brought the new Prius, and the cops can't catch him because he never runs out of gas. And then the cops, that's one ad. Then the second ad is they're still running away, and the ad ends with the cops. They have a new plan, and the final ad is the cops now also got Priuses, and they could finally catch them.
And
And
it
it
because they're
becomes,
driving.
I remember that one. It becomes a national
Yeah.
talking point. It's on the news. Heroic Prius still going after days on the road.
Yeah,
That's
it's
funny.
So funny.
a good one.
I love the hamsters in the Kia.
Oh, barf.
So good. So
Holy-
funny.
That's the
they
equivalent.
dance.
That's-
It's so good.
It feels like Skrillex, like that. It's not related to Skrillex, but it's like that.
Are you firing shots at Skrillex?
No, if
you don't like Scary
it's not
Monsters
that
and Nice
It's
Sprites?
not that it's bad. I love that song, but that commercial with the hamsters
Bing ring.
makes me feel like someone playing Halo and drinking Mountain Dew and listening to Skrillex.
So me 2 years ago.
Me right now.
Yeah, and Dylan currently.
Yes.
I was gonna say Augie, that ad is the equivalent of a poop joke.
Whoa.
Can you know it's true?
It's so fun.
Fun.
It's so fun.
There's like YouTube videos where you can watch interviews with the people that make the really successful ads, and the people that made some of these ads and have like poop jokes and stuff are so confident about their genius in designing these jokes. Like it's like, yes, it's funny, but like, is it smart? Like
Poop jokes.
I don't know if the humor is smart.
Poop jokes will always be funny.
Commercials are a difficult art, I would say.
I could
Yes,
easily
commercials can be smart.
I could
Yeah.
easily make a Super Bowl commercial.
Oh, yeah? What would you do? Let's
right.
say it's for a drink.
What drink?
An energy drink.
Okay, get me Kylie Jenner. Get me Cops. Get me...
An egg.
Hold on. So we got our Cops. We got Kylie Jenner. Get me the energy drink. Get me some tired protesters.
Okay, this is just
Yeah.
this is literally
Oh, no.
Okay.
This is just
Okay.
a real ad. This ad has already been made.
And didn't it get a lot of coverage?
But like not
yes.
the good
There you go.
kind.
There's no bad coverage.
There's no bad coverage.
Unless people boycott your company.
No bad coverage.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no such...
But a boycott can't last forever. I mean, look at Cuba.
There's no... What?
We lifted our
Embargo?
We're boycotting Cuba.
Yeah. Thanks, Obama.
So I wanted to say because Coca-Cola is not playing an ad during the Super Bowl this year. They're playing one like before,
The polar bears.
which is much cheaper, but not during.
Why? Do you think it's a statement? They're saying like
Could be.
we're gonna make
But they're
just
still
as,
playing an ad.
Well,
It's
right.
just not in the middle.
But do you think they're saying we're gonna get just as much news not playing an ad as we're playing an ad, or do you think it's because they're literally like it doesn't make us enough money?
Yeah, I don't really know how much of a difference like Super Bowl ads make, but maybe that's just speaking from me because they don't affect me. But like that's the same thing with like I don't know who watches blank show, but it's on because people watch it.
Well, I mean, there's definitely more eyes on the Super Bowl than almost, if not just literally
I think it's
any
anything.
other.
I think
yeah.
that's the top.
So I couldn't quite remember, but yeah. So then it makes sense, but at the same time, like I'm not gonna not get Coca-Cola because I don't see their commercial. I'm not gonna forget they exist. Like they might be at that point
Yeah,
where it's like if you like Coke, you like Coke, and if
Oh,
you
wait.
don't, a commercial won't change.
I
Your
know
mind.
Will's about to come in here with an economics lesson.
No, I was just gonna say I love Diet Coke. I have at least
Oh.
like 3 a day.
that is
and
not
if-
what I
We
expected,
expected
and I am
something
supremely
smart.
disappointed.
No, as soon as
This
you
is
said
dumb,
Diet
not
Coke,
smart.
I
Diet Coke
zoned
sucks.
out.
No one
I
said
zoned
Diet
out.
Coke, only Coke.
Right, but I just immediately. What did you say that would have had to do with economics?
Dude,
Well, we were talking
the
about
commercial.
if the ads
If
are
they
worth
made
it
money.
once you're at the level of Coke or Pepsi.
Well, that's what I was. I don't know. How would I know that?
Well, because
Your
we used to always say
economics.
this stuff, and you'd be like, "Well, let me tell you why
Let me tell you a
Supreme
theory
is
that I don't
blah, blah,
believe in
blah," or
economics.
But I feel like everyone realizes if they're putting out more money than they're raking in, it doesn't make sense. Basic economics.
do we know
So
that
they
are.
must be making more, like it must show that it's
Or-
increasing.
How much? But how much money could a company like Coke possibly put out in order to not be making? Wait.
The
Yeah,
question
they would
is
have to put out so much to not make more
Okay.
because they make so much.
now.
Right.
I have something I can say
Oh god!
economically.
Why did we let him? do
If
this?
Coke will put out an ad and they expect to see a bump in their sales because I'm sure they have pretty consistent. Exactly. And if Coke doesn't see that, Augie. So what would it be like if they only saw like maybe one bump? Then they're gonna be like, let's just put an ad in the beginning and not in the middle. But I don't. Don't you think Coke should hire me?
Yeah.
Well, no, you
Coke-
didn't say anything valuable. They already are doing it. You're just saying why they did it.
What? That's literally everyone on every news channel ever. Something happens and they just talk about what they think happened. That's us right now.
Speaking of money,
You keep cutting me off.
speaking of money, Chicago billionaire Ken Griffin just bought the most expensive U.S. home ever. Any guesses for how much he paid for it?
Oh, I'm gonna say
I hate people. I want money.
73 million.
Dylan,
2 billion.
238 million.
Oh, I was close.
It was it's a
I
whole,
was closer
it's a,
than you.
it's
so
a
close.
It's a whole building
Mine
in
had a
New
2 in it.
York, like like
Oh my god.
Can I let me
let me
lean
look
over.
at the details.
Here, Augie.
It's like for condos.
I'm
but,
traveling to your mic right now. Like now you can hear me on Augie's mic.
sorry, Noah. It's
That's
Wait,
such a
there's no
flex.
pictures.
this. I can't tell.
That's his house.
It's one of these buildings.
Wait. Okay, so here
Who
I'll
needs
just
to live in a whole building?
I'll describe it to you. Literally picture like the
Empire
skyscrapers.
State
Picture like
Building.
the skyscrapers of New York, and then you just live in one of them, and it's your whole house.
Okay, but like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know. I guess maybe if I had more money, my perspective would change. It's not even that I'm mad at it. Like, to each their own. I don't know if I would actually want to live in a house that big. Like, you don't. I feel like houses are very like the feel of it is determines if you like it or not. So I don't really need like a huge house. I feel like I'd get like lonely.
You mean the difference between a house and a home?
So this
Yes,
guy's a
exactly.
hedge fund, like is that what it's called? Hedge fund, like billionaire guy. Anyways, he's super rich. Like he has money for having money.
He
type
makes
thing.
money
Oh,
just by
investment.
putting
money.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Once
like-
I invested,
Once you invest,
Would you guys buy?
I forgot what I invested in though.
All right, I have a brilliant business idea. Cut me
go.
off if I've said this before.
Invest in French rocks.
Invest in me.
You've said this before, and
I
you
have
know
said
it.
this
I
before.
know.
And
Just
I did.
Venmo me $5 for one share of my life.
I bought
How
all the
much would
shares
you
of his
need
life.
to make? This is a question to you guys. How much would you need to make to justify buying a 238? Like, at what point would you be like, okay?
I don't think I
like,
could
I know
ever
you would
justify
never
it.
do it. I know you would never do it.
No. I mean, if I wanted it, like I understand putting aside if I want to.
But like $1 billion, no. You
I
would
mean,
need more
maybe-
because
I guess
that's a quarter of
your
your whole.
perspective must change,
Yeah.
but I don't think I would ever be able to justify it for myself. Even if I really wanted it, I would be like, that is so much money. Like even put into like a charity or something.
Here's-
Like,
But for example,
unless-
like if you have like $20 billion,
Here's my question.
or if you're like the
I'd still be like, I can
$1
invest
trillion
that money and
club.
make more. I can leave it to my family. I can build a new space program. Like there's more stuff than
think-
just making a building.
I think if I had $20 billion, I would not necessarily put like 250 million into one house, but I could easily justify spending all of that in housing across the world.
True.
Without a doubt.
Interesting.
Like I could get a house on Hawaii. I could put a house in Aspen. Like no doubt I would be happy to build houses
But
around.
this is a
I mean, I
flex.
guess I wouldn't buy that property just to live in it. I could see making it pay for itself, like buying a really nice thing like that, living in part of it, but then using the condos to like make more money or something.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll do that
It would be smart.
Maybe.
because like there's no use. There's
Yeah.
no way that you can use all
Like,
those
why
rooms.
do you need all those rooms?
You could
Like
you
that's like
could-
when you get to the point where you're giving like 2 rooms to each of your dogs.
If he uses all of the rooms, I'm gonna be really sus.
like
about
your
his
dog gets like
activities.
the 3rd floor.
So what he's gonna do is he's gonna tear down all of the floors and just make it one giant bedroom with a really high ceiling.
That would actually be kind of cool.
and a rock climbing wall from the bottom to the top.
And then he'll fall.
No harnesses. Extreme rock climbing.
New York edition. Billionaire edition.
No topics to cut away to this time, Augie.
Ooh.
How does it feel?
What if he's actually like? What if he's gonna make drugs
you guys
in
hear
there
about-
and he bought the whole building to disguise it?
Did you guys hear about the Bryan Singer thing?
Who's that?
No.
I don't want to talk about it for too long because I don't want to make it too dark. But basically, Bryan Singer, who's the director of, well, quote unquote director of Bohemian Rhapsody, who's like
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
known as
Harvey Weinstein type
yeah, you can look
character?
it up. Anyways, it was an unfortunate thing. So
Wait. Something came out.
yeah,
What did he do?
Wait,
because
what do you mean, quote unquote director? Yeah. Wait. What?
Well, because he was only there. He was there for like 2/3 of the process, and then he was fired because he would not show up to set some days. He was a mess.
So
and
literally
all
like
this stuff.
Freddie Mercury
Yeah,
towards the end.
in a way,
And-
but much worse
Yeah.
because some things just came out about
Potentially less talented.
I would say probably less talented
Yeah.
than Freddie Mercury. But anyways, so a lot of for example, GLAAD, which is I'm not exactly sure what it stands for, but I know it's like a thing for like LGBTQ. It's like a foundation type thing company, and they have GLAAD awards, and they rescinded the nomination for Bohemian Rhapsody because of that. Which I didn't.
What did he do?
I felt
That's not fair at
it had
all.
to do
That is
with
so
like his sexual
short-sighted.
life and like underage people.
They should.
and-
They should. I mean, in my opinion, rescind the one to him in particular
Yeah.
if there was one. But so many people put so much money and time
Yeah,
and
it
work
takes so
into a
many
movie.
people to make the movie like that,
the
and
movie
especially
doesn't
because
deserve that,
he's not
yeah.
even credited.
Like why
really, like
now you're punishing everybody that's worked on the movie for one dick.
Nothing against the GLAAD Awards, but I don't think anyone's like, oh, we didn't get nominated for a
That's
GLAAD
also true.
award.
yeah,
Like they still got nominated for Best Picture, which I think is a little ridiculous. The Best Picture,
Oh.
the Best Picture
Can we
field,
talk about the Oscar nominations?
Absolutely.
the
We can talk
best,
about the Oscar
the Best
nominations.
Picture field this year is weak.
Okay, Black Panther is not a bad movie. We talked about
I think we
this
talked about this
before
last week.
before they
Yeah.
were nominated, though, right? I don't think the nominations
Yeah, the
were out.
nominations came out this week.
Yeah.
I think.
It's been nominated.
Maybe.
I don't know the exact number. It's been nominated for a lot of stuff that I feel it shouldn't have, not because it's bad, but because there was better stuff. And even if it's about diversity or spreading, like, yeah, I guess political diversity in people's minds and stuff like cultural impact, I still think there was better stuff. Like it feels kind of ridiculous
Let
to
me
me
tell
and
you.
like pandering.
I don't think there was better stuff, and I think that's the
I feel like it was a
issue.
pretty lukewarm.
No, but
year.
Yeah.
like, well, so I did talk about this movie last week. Blind Spotting is a movie that would have been completely fine if it did not win anything because it was not very popular. It was really good, but not many people saw it. But I do think movies like that definitely, like the nominations, correct me if I'm wrong, I do not believe those are supposed to be based on like, did a lot of people see them? That's the Academy saying this is a really good movie that you should watch.
Let me tell you
'cause we're
something. Let me
nominated.
tell you something. For those of you who don't know, and I know you guys at least have an idea of it because we get screeners and stuff like that. Which screeners are DVDs that are sent out by the different production companies and picture whatever you call them, like Fox, Disney, things like that. They send them out in a for your consideration thing to get Oscar bids.
Mm-hmm.
Award shows are all political. They spend millions of dollars trying to get things nominated. If you don't have those millions of dollars, you won't get nominated. Yep. So that's why a movie like Blind Spotting or Sorry to Bother You,
8th grade.
8th grade.
And I kind of realized
don't get those nods because it's really a lot about money, and there's all these like dinners and banquets that the actors and directors go to talk with Oscar people.
Which makes sense to me in that I see how it happens and how the Oscars would then in that case would not have been like they wouldn't have nominated that, but that's not what the Oscars should be, in my opinion. It should be about the art of the movie, especially because they pretend like that is what it is.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's a really hard change to make, which is why I just hope that something replaces the Oscars pretty damn soon, because it shouldn't be about what movie can spend the most money. Like that's
it won't happen. Sadly,
I think part of
everything's
it
super political and corrupt.
I think part of it, maybe some justification for the way they do it now, is you need a lot of. I mean, you don't need it, but you're gonna have. I don't know how to put this. You're gonna have a better movie if you have more money so that you can put into it.
Yeah, but it's not about that. It's about the money after the movie's made.
But
well, not always.
Also,
with the movie.
a popular movie being nominated for Best Picture makes sense to me because if so many people saw it, and it had great reviews, probably was a good picture.
But Blind Spotting was a really good movie. I'm just using this as the example. There's many more. 8th grade, where a lot of people saw it, but not.
I would say that with 8th grade, but not with Blind Spotting.
No,
this is
my point.
Tiny.
This is my point. Is that not many people saw it, but not because it was bad or anything, or even not. It was, in my opinion, better than many of the really big movies that were super popular this year. I mean, Venom was one of the most popular movies this year in terms of how much it grossed in ticket sales. So my point is there's a lot of movies that just people don't know to go see, or it's in select theaters. And that's what something like the Oscars that's nominating the best films should be looking for. Like they should be bringing that to the attention of people so they can watch that and then decide, maybe I will vote for this, maybe I won't. And then they can still say Black Panther is better, and that's their opinion.
And I think that has happened before. For example, 12 Years a Slave was not a huge movie when it first came out, if I'm remembering correctly.
But
I have no idea.
Did they have the marketing budget?
I don't
I
remember.
feel like that was
but
probably a pretty high budget.
I feel like I saw that
Wasn't that
marketed.
lead?
and it
Lee
won.
Daniels,
It won
probably?
Best Picture,
Yes.
and it became a lot more popular.
But
after
they
the fact.
had money to market it, because I feel like I
It all
remember
comes down to money.
it
Always does.
yeah. That's
Unfortunately.
actually, though, on the bright side, kind of. I was listening to something on NPR because it was in my mom's car. But
I love NPR.
I mean, it is interesting sometimes. But they were talking about they were talking about the Sundance Film Festival, which has become almost, it's a different thing than the Oscars completely, but it's become a little bit similar in that in past years it became more of a thing where it was celebrities would come and their indie movies would be in it. So it was just famous indie movies. But now they are doing a push, like a literal, like specific push that is announced to try and get back to their roots as discovering like new filmmakers and like different voices in film, which is just really cool because it feels like that's what they should be. That's their purpose. So they like specifically now are looking for films that are like new people that are not heard of yet.
I mean, 8th grade premiered at Sundance.
Yeah.
And then, Sundance is more a place to like premiere your film, and then the Academy is like a place to.
But it's just cool that at least
confirm, like,
some of those big movie companies, in any way, are like doing that push because that's what I wish the Oscars would do.
Yeah. Now to a new segment.
What?
Ooh.
I know. It's the question of the pod. Yeah.
Oh no.
All right, so I just think it would be fun to just like throw out a little question and just like, you know, everyone tells their little.
Man, this is gonna be so fun.
This one is what, and then we can play around with like what kind of a question it is. But this was just something I would like to hear from you guys. So, what was like your original dream job when you were a kid? Like the first one you can remember that you were like, oh yeah, I want to do that.
Since maybe 4th grade, I've wanted to be a marine biologist. I don't know why. I liked boogie boarding. If you don't know what a marine biologist is, marine ocean biologist, study of life in the ocean.
Smart guy.
Maybe our friends in Alaska don't really know what a marine biologist is. Part of my issue was I didn't understand that marine biologists didn't just like go jump and swim with sharks and stuff. I'm terrified of the ocean, by the way.
Really?
Big things. I've said this many a time. Maybe not on the podcast, actually. Big things scare me. Like large airplanes, scary. Cruise ships, scary. Like I can go on a cruise ship, but like when you get off and you're walking away and you see how big the cruise ship is, scary. I can't explain it. So the idea of the ocean and the endless possibility beneath you, scary. But I want to study it until about 8th grade when I wanted to become a chemical engineer.
Aha.
Oh.
I can't relate directly to that fear of big things, but I completely understand it, and I am scared of like the ocean thing, like that. I can empathize with that one, so I think I get where you're coming from.
And I don't mean things that are bigger than they should be. You know, like if you had an
What about like a basketball player? Does that scare you? Because they're like bigger than like the average
like
person?
hard to comprehend big.
It's not so much that it's hard to comprehend. It's just like I don't know. Like things have to be a certain size. Like for example, if you took something that's usually really small, like it's like an ant, and blew it up to like human size, that wouldn't scare me.
Oh,
No. Like not a real ant, like a sculpture, for example, like an inanimate object. But if you took that ant and made it so big that it was like the size of a cruise ship, then it would scare me.
Do not go to New York,
so just
sir.
big things,
but not buildings. Buildings don't scare me. I don't know.
What about a 238 million building?
Oh.
Well, you've said okay. So
Would
you've
you be
said
afraid?
you've said a boat and you've said the ocean. Is it just like the ocean? Sharks.
No.
Is it just water, Will?
Maybe.
Sharks, cruise ship, ocean.
Is it the coast?
Coast to coast, west coast to east coast.
Coast to
across the
coast,
world.
like head to head.
Oh my god.
That brings us to head to head. Dylan, what about you? What was your dream job?
What was the well, my first when I was like 2 was I wanted to be an executive producer because that's just what my dad does, and I was like, I'll
that's
do the
cute.
exact same thing, mostly because I felt like his feelings would be hurt if I said I didn't.
When I was 2,
And they would be.
Yes.
when I was
Softy.
2, when
Sorry,
I was
Kevin.
2, I wanted to learn how to use the toilet. Keep going, Dylan.
I guess I was just brighter.
Jeez.
No, but then I wanted to be the author or an author of books, and I wrote a book that reads very much like a young kid trying to write a book that doesn't know how to write a book.
What's it called?
But I think it's called The Adventures of Polly and John.
Oh, I've read it.
Oh yeah.
I've read that book.
Oh yeah. It starts out with a lot of inspiration, and then it really gets to a point where you can tell that I like didn't really know what I was doing, but I was like, I'm gonna finish.
You know, I wrote comic books and sold them in 3rd grade about the adventures of a sock puppet.
Oh my gosh. I kind of did that with like the adventures of this little spiky guy.
Yeah, not as clever as a sock puppet. He was a superhero sock puppet.
Augie and I used to have story and tell. Oh, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, he would.
Wait,
put on
should we bring that
epic.
back for French folks?
a story of a sock. Okay, if you're listening to this, don't. TM rewind.
TM.
TM.
CR.
Sock puppet.
Yeah,
TM.
can't take it. If you ever put a sock on any part of your body, your feet included, sue. $1 million lawsuit.
Oh wait, are you suing me or no? Because I'm in the company.
No, you're in the. This is a French fox.
Oh,
Nice.
Sick.
What were you saying, Dylan?
In
We used to have
elementary school,
stories.
yeah, Augie and I our classes usually had like story time at the beginning, and everybody would like write down in the
Oh,
journal,
yeah.
like, in
I
their
forgot
journals
about
like a story, and then it became like an expanded universe thing where people's stories would like connect.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah.
most
A big
ambitious
battle at the
crossover.
end. Literally, it would be like we'd all be writing separate stories, and then at the end we'd all plan out like as we were going to class, like they're all gonna connect today. It would be like everybody's side
Game
of
of
the story
Thrones.
of something that we'd all planned out was gonna happen. Yeah, pretty amazing.
One time in class, we were doing these like book groups. Like I was in 3rd grade or whatever, and we had to find 3 words that we didn't know before we read and ask about them. And I didn't know that like if you had an incomplete word at the end of a page, you put a dash and like complete it at the end. And it was like someone's name was Henrik, Henrik, and it was HEN-RIK. And I came to work and I was like, I came to school and I was like,
Wait, I was about to say.
what's a Rick? And they're like, I'm sorry? What are you talking about? I was like, page 500. What's a Rick? And they're like, that's Henrik. And I was like, oh,
what a will.
And that's how I learned the little dash thing means carry on.
I wayward son.
I don't really know what as I was asking the question, I don't really know what I wanted to be before I wanted to make movies.
Well, it's a good thing nobody asked you.
Oh. No, but I think maybe I wanted to just be like a homemaker, like a housewife, but like a house husband, because I hated to do anything. I didn't like to leave my house.
You understand that
that's-
stay-at-home mom and stay-at-home dad do a lot?
Yeah,
Like,
they
you
like
didn't-
yeah, but I just wanted
You
to be in
wanted
my
to-
home.
Okay, so
When
you
it
just wanted
peaks.
to be unemployed.
No, I never yeah, maybe. I didn't think I thought that far into it.
Okay, so kind of like you are now.
All right, now it's time for the final segment of the French Fox podcast. The recommendation railroad.
Choo-choo.
Locomotive.
Train crossing.
Do
Will.
not stand on the tracks.
Mind the gap.
Those striped candy cane bar wood things are coming down. Have you ever seen that sign on the train tracks?
All right, this podcast is over.
Wow, this is
If you
okay.
just clicked out, I don't blame you.
Okay, well, they can't hear us. So recommendation railroad.
How long did it take for you to come up with that, or was that in the moment?
It wasn't in the moment, but it came to me one time I was thinking recommendation, and I couldn't think of anything. And then I feel like it was today. I was like recommendation railroad.
That was such a good story.
Choo. My recommendation for you audience members or people of the French Fox team, I can't remember if I recommended Game of Thrones yet.
Yeah,
I did.
think last
What's that?
week.
Okay,
Okay, because I just finished it. It's awesome. Anyways, I would recommend Barry. At least the first couple of episodes, very funny. It's a dark comedy on HBO where Bill Hader, who is Barry, is an assassin who somehow ends up falling in love with acting, and it gets very interesting. So I would check that out. It's a really good pilot, and then keep watching and see if you keep liking it. That is my recommendation.
No, we're gonna go to Will. They just pointed at me, but I have to think.
Oh man,
This segment happens every week, guys.
I know. I never do anything different. What show am I watching?
Podcast? You got a podcast you're listening to?
I always listen to the same
Album?
podcast. No, I don't listen to music.
Thing you did? Basketball game? Go to basketball games?
I recommend. This is sponsored by Chipotle. I recommend you go to Chipotle.
Chipotle is
Get
good.
some great food. I love Chipotle. Yum yum yum.
Yum yum yum.
Yeah, it could be a restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah, it can be whatever I
I
want.
mean, whatever you want.
I'm upset that you were had to tell me that it could be a restaurant.
No, I was just saying, to spark Dylan's
No,
Dylan,
it could be make
I
a paper airplane.
Oh, I got one.
No, that would be stupid.
Yeah, that would be stupid.
Stupid. Make a paper airplane. No, my real one is on Netflix. I don't think I've talked about this one before. Oh no,
I'll tell
this
you.
all keeps happening. We're so far into this podcast. The Bodyguard.
Yeah, it's been recommended
You
by
did.
Ben.
I think
it
you
was Ben.
Oh,
Wait,
well, it
Ben
was
said
Ben.
it?
Then
I didn't
Dylan.
even
Then
know-
Dylan can say it.
No,
Oh.
that's so stupid.
I must have not been there actually because I didn't know that anybody else even watched that show here.
Yeah, Ben.
It's really good. It starts if you watch the trailer and stuff. It'll start. I wonder if Ben said the same thing. You'll think that it's like a CW type show. It's not. It's the most unpredictable show I think.
Okay.
among the
Roast
most
to
I've ever watched.
CW. So
Okay.
Dylan's also recommendation is
Yes.
don't watch CW.
Okay.
That's another
If I
recommendation.
can recommend something someone else has already recommended, then I recommend you watch Barry.
You haven't seen Barry.
I
No.
recommend you go to Chipotle.
I recommend
Yum, yum, yum.
that you watch Game of Thrones. That's my third time saying it. It's
I also
that
recommend
good.
Game of Thrones.
And Westworld.
No,
I've
Just
never
kidding, yes,
watched
please do.
Westworld.
You can still recommend it.
And I never will.
Okay, I have a real recommendation.
I have a good one actually.
Guys, we've already
Sorry
given
to kill
so
you.
many.
No, this is a good one. This
The-
one's mine.
The train is coming into the
Yeah.
station. I recommend you spend some time with your family.
I already gave that one.
Instead of spending
I actually have already given
Instead
that
of
one.
spending time with your family, my recommendation is Masterclass. It's actually really cool. It's a little bit expensive, but like
Oh,
it's a
I have
really
that.
good deal. Yeah, which one do you have?
I have like the pass.
Oh, damn, flex.
Is that just
Well, because the
It's a better deal. I wanted to see if I would actually watch it.
which
but,
one
like,
are you doing?
Aaron Sorkin.
Nice.
you
Yeah,
done
I
that
was
one?
looking at that one, and I was watching Scorsese and
Oh yeah, that's probably my next one.
Ron Howard.
is
I
that
think.
just where you
Yeah.
pay like $10 to learn something?
It's a little more than that.
So it's like
but yeah.
you can pay $90, buy one class. Like for $90, I bought forever. It's mine. The Aaron Sorkin screenwriting class where he gives
Genius.
assignments. It's like 40 hours or something of him talking about like different parts of screenwriting and storytelling. Really, really interesting and helpful.
And then for 180, you can get just every single
there's- it's not just
masterclass.
film, it's like
there's
so
like Gordon
much.
Ramsay teaches cooking.
Samuel L. Jackson teaches
Rubbish.
acting. Yes.
Yeah, that is a cool website.
Yeah.
All right, I got one more recommendation.
Oh my god.
Go like
Get
us.
out. The
follow us.
conductor is like, get out. I have to go
Smash
home.
that like button.
No, that's the outro.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I'm recommending.
Okay, here's this outro that Will recommended. Thanks everybody for listening. Follow us at French Fox Prod. This podcast comes out every Thursday. Check out Office Hours. We got a lot of fun stuff on our YouTube channel. We upload the podcast on our YouTube channel. We also upload Office Hours, and we have a teaser trailer for a film coming up, and there'll be more trailers and soon we'll release that. So a lot of exciting stuff. Check out the YouTube. Check out the social media.
And we
subscribe
leaked
to
the
this
whole
podcast.
next Star Wars movie.
Yeah. This has been Will.
Goodbye, guys.
Dylan.
You took what I was going to do.
I'm hungry. I'm Augie.
I'm
Hi,
I'm
hungry.
Dad.
I'm Dad.
Thanks everybody for listening. Have a good week. We'll see you
Oh, thank
next week, Thursday. French Fox Podcast.
If you're still listening, I love you.
On Thursdays, I get coffee.
No, cut that. No, just end it on what I said. Noah.
No, locomotive.
But make sure you listen to the end.
Locomotive, no.
Make sure you listen to the end.
No, I never makes it this far.
Instead of recommendation railroad, let's call it literary locomotive, where you have to recommend a work of literary art.
No, is your car fixed?
No.